Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MGM Grand for today's final press conference leading into this holiday weekend's tremendous fight card for UFC 132, Cruz versus Faber. At this point, I'd like to introduce our President of Sports and Entertainment for MGM Resorts International, Richard Sturm.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. On behalf of the MGM Resorts family, I'd like to first welcome the media, the fighters, and our partners at UFC to MGM Grand as the summer heats up with a sensational mixed martial arts event this holiday weekend. The UFC 132 event promises to be a tremendous rematch between Cruz and Faber, while also featuring additional championship fights, including Ortiz against Bader and Silva versus Leben. Cruz, who will be fighting at the MGM Grand for the first time in his career, looks to avenge his only loss, one that came at the hands of Faber in 2007. Faber, too, will fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena for the first time, with a second victory over Cruz will extend his winning streak to 3 in a row. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta, Dana White, and the entire UFC staff. I'd also like to thank Keith Kaiser of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and I'd also like to thank you for all being here today and look forward to seeing you Saturday night. And now I'd like to introduce you to the Director of Communications, Dave Sholler. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dana will be joining us a little bit later today. First of all, I want to say thank you all for joining us here at the UFC 132 press conference, a tremendous card this weekend. We want to thank the Nevada Athletic Commission, Mr. Keith Kaiser, and also our friends at the MGM. Another great event that we're putting on this weekend, live on pay-per-view, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll start the action off at 3:15 Pacific with Facebook fights, some really great fights there, and then we move the spike at 5 p.m. Just real quickly, going to go through each guy here on the card. It's one of those stacked cards. We always do it every 4th of July. We like to say we bring the fireworks, and we certainly brought it here this weekend. We start with Tito Ortiz, a man that doesn't need much of an introduction, one of the longest reigning light heavyweight champions of all time. He is in a pivotal fight in his career, and he'll be taking on one of the rising stars in the 205-pound division, that being Mr. Ryan Bader. Ryan's a guy with the pedigree in wrestling that is not very surpassed here in the sport. He is looking to avenge that loss to John Jones and come back. We know he's got that big right hand and his All-American wrestler status. He's going to be on display this weekend. Also here today is Wanderlei Silva. We all know Wanderlei, one of the great legends of this sport, a legend from Pride who's come here and really revitalized his career at 185 pounds. He's asked for the fight. He got it. Chris Leben is here today. Chris started with us at The Ultimate Fighter. He's been on quite a streak himself, and there's a lot for him to prove. This is the fight he wanted. You talked to him about a decade ago, and he dreamt of a fight with Wanderlei Silva. This Saturday, that fight's going to happen. And then lastly, our main event, two guys I know very well from the days in the WEC, a pioneer in the lighter weight class, Mr. Urijah Faber, one of the pioneers, as I mentioned, 2 years as the WEC featherweight champion, and since he's dropped to 135 pounds, he's nearly been unstoppable. And then last, the champion, the man who's 17-1 and has been running through guys in the bantamweight division, Dominick Cruz. I know I joke with a lot of you guys, he has some of the best footwork in the business, and you gotta believe that'll be on display this weekend. So without further ado, I'm gonna open up to questions. I do ask that you wait for the microphone.
Hey guys, Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. Question for Tito. Tito, there's so much speculation that this could be your last fight. With that said, are you trying to enjoy this pre-fight process a little bit more, or are you just approaching this like any other fight?
I'm approaching it like any other fight. You know, I'm not even thinking about it. I think of getting my hand raised. That's all I'm thinking about. After the fight's over, what's said is what's said, what's done is done. Can't do nothing about it, just as long as I go out and fight the way I've been training. And that's hard. Fight with my heart, fight with my soul, and it's just one of those things. I've put a lot into this camp, You know, I put a 9-week camp in of hard work and dedication and being injury-free. Got to knock on wood because I'm very thankful. You know, Dr. William Smith out of here in Las Vegas did an amazing job on the surgeries I got done, and I feel great. My wrestling's been on point, my boxing's been on point, my takedown defense been on point, and I made those mistakes to Matt Hamill, and I won't make these mistakes on Saturday night.
Questions, guys, just show your hands.
I've got a quick question for Dominick. I'm over here on your left. It might be tough for you to see me. But during the open workouts yesterday, you mentioned that you were putting a lot of focus into your weight cut. And then when you left, Urijah actually said that when he'd been around you, you looked a little bit bigger to him. I'm wondering if you did put on a little bit of muscle mass for this fight, and if so, if that was by design?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's by design. I'm always trying to get as big as I can, actually, in between fights before I start my training camps, and then I get it off slowly. As I've gotten older, I've put on a little bit of weight and, you know, grown into my body a little bit better, I feel like. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, part of the process. I still have it down to a science. My weight's under control. It's just not fun making it. I kind of look like a concentration camp victim by the end of my cut, but I make it okay.
Question for Ryan, over here to your right in the front. Can you talk about your feelings going into this fight and what a victory over somebody like Tito Ortiz would mean for your career?
Yeah, I'm coming off my first loss of my career, and it just made me reevaluate everything. You know, I was getting by winning with a certain skill set, and kind of, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And so it put me back to the drawing board and made me, you know, start over. And you know, I just was rejuvenated. I want to get back in training, learn, work on certain stuff. You know, and just become a better MMA fighter. And I was working on a lot of, you know, on footwork, technique, and not going out there, you know, crazy, trying to end up with, you know, with one punch every time. So, you know, I feel good. I feel like I'm starting over, and I don't ever want to feel that loss again. You know, that feeling sucks. So I want to get back to, you know, winning again, and you know, it starts on Saturday.
And to follow up on that, does it take a little bit of the pressure off, you know, not that you want to lose, but having that loss under your belt, no longer having to focus so much on remaining undefeated?
Not really. I put a lot of pressure on myself for every fight. You know, you go through a camp, and, you know, all the fighters, you know, feel the same way. You know, a lot of pressure on yourself, your whole camp, your friends and family. You don't want to let anybody down. And so, you know, going in and, you know, having a loss now, you know, I don't want to have another one. There's a lot of pressure right there. And I'm going to come in and look better. And, you know, I just want to get back to winning. And, you know, I put in the work, and I allow myself to be successful for Saturday.
First question for Urijah, please. On the countdown show they were showing before we started here, Dominick said something you said to him after the last fight, after you won the last fight, really stuck with him, and he didn't even know if you remembered having that encounter after the last fight. I was wondering, do you remember what he's talking about?
Yeah, I went up to him and I said, "Good fight." That was it. I said, "Good fight, buddy."
So you really didn't mean anything more by it? I mean, he seemed like he took, you were kind of rubbing it in.
I don't think I was rubbing it in. I was just kind of like, "Good fight. Try again, buddy." But I mean, I didn't say it. I just said, "Good fight." That was it. But he knows what I meant. He was right.
And then for Dominick, please. Yesterday, Urijah said he thinks that this all stems from that you're a little jealous about him. I know you probably wouldn't go that far, but is there some stuff about his notoriety and kind of the things he's gotten to do in his career that you want for yourself?
I mean, he's done a lot for the sport in the lighter weight classes. You can't deny him. Without him being started in the lighter weight classes, they probably wouldn't be where they are today. But jealousy, that's just his big head talking again. And it's far from that. It's more along the lines of, I've been a champion for a while now, and right after I win the title, it's questions about losing to Urijah Faber, and not questions about how well I did winning my title. And I'm ready for those questions to stop, and I'm ready to prove that I'm the champion that I am on Saturday night.
It's questions for both Dominick and Urijah. Dominick, we'll start with you. Since that last fight, can you talk about the evolution of a fighter as yourself, and then the evolution of your opponent?
You know, as a fighter myself, I've just really focused the last 4 years on fixing everything. You know, I'm very dedicated to every aspect of the sport. I live my life for the sport right now. I've sacrificed everything to just focus on it. And my jiu-jitsu's gotten light years better, my grappling altogether. I've been able to out-wrestle some of the best wrestlers in my division. You know, my striking as well. I feel like I've excelled everywhere. Like I said earlier, I've grown into my body a little bit better, and I feel stronger and faster than I've ever felt. So I'm excited for the things to come in the future, and especially Saturday night in the present, you know. And as for Faber, you know, I don't really know what he's done for himself. That's not really my thing to say. All I know is that it reminds me of a similar fighting style and a similar fighting matchup that I had the first time we fought. So it's pretty much the same matchup, just 4 years later.
Urijah, if you can answer that portion as well, the evolution of yourself and Dominick since the last fight?
I think we both changed a lot. I mean, you can see, even in the open workout yesterday, you know, I mean, it's apparent that I've improved a lot from 4 years ago with my hands, my Muay Thai, and I attribute that to my trainer, Master Tong, who's trained multiple world champions in boxing and kickboxing and now MMA. You know, it's just a different time. It really is. You know, I'm actually bigger as a person, size-wise, fighting at 135 pounds when I walk around. I've continued to improve on my jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've submitted countless guys that are black belts and never been submitted and never been stopped. You know, I'm the guy that's beaten all those guys. So, you know, it's one thing to see Dominick against some pretty good people, and it's a different thing to see Dominick against me at my best, and that's what you're going to see.
And Dominick, for yourself, Urijah did mention yesterday, I mean, a lot of the talk is your footwork and your unpredictability, but he did mention that there are trends that him and his camp have noticed that they're obviously going to try and work on, but he was also candid in saying, we'll see if it's going to work in the octagon. Can you comment on that? Are you that unpredictable that you can't be touched, or?
I mean, I've definitely been touched in my fights. I walked out with black eyes and cuts and whatnot. It's far from getting not touched in these fights. But the thing is, it's about, like you said, being unpredictable. And really what makes me that way is I make adjustments accordingly in the fight, and I never throw the same thing over and over unless they give it to me. And when they make adjustments to what I'm throwing, I adjust to that. I have 3 different ways to throw the same combination, and it's a different setup every single time. And so it makes it hard to read. You know, I sure hope he's made some adjustments and been able to see some stuff, because I fought everybody in his camp, and he's trained all of them and helped them get ready for me, and he's got a lot of tape on me. So that's actually a benefit for him and his camp, I believe. I haven't seen him in a while, but I fought Joseph Benavidez twice, and I feel that Benavidez is very much a very similar opponent as Faber. Maybe a little bit smaller size-wise, but fights very, very similar to Urijah's style, and that's a good step up for me in my mind.
Wanderlei, question for you to your very left, front and second row. You've been off for 16 months now. It's been a long, long way back for you. Now you're getting the fight you've been asking for against Chris Leben. What goes through your mind when you picture that fight for like a period of over a year, how it's going to take place? What goes through the mind of a fighter then?
For me, I never be out for so long like that. Year and a half is a long time, and I can't believe how much this sport changing in that year and a half. It's unbelievable, growing up so much. From my last fight in Australia, from that fight, it's a more promotion, it's a more pressure. And but for me especially, I love depression. I fight better with depression. I know I asking for a fight, and I know I'm gonna have a great performance Saturday, and I give a great show for my fans around the world.
Thank you. Chris, for you, do you feel that Wanderlei is possibly taking you lightly as an opponent?
I hope so. No. I mean, the guy's had 16 months off, and one or two things. Some guys come in with ring rust, other guys come in with a fire underneath them. And to tell you the truth, I don't know. I don't know how he's been training, but I can tell you how I've been training. I'm training like this guy needs to go out and destroy me to prove he's Wanderlei Silva. You know, he's the legend here, and I want to. You know, you got to beat the legend to be the legend.
Quick prediction for Saturday?
You know, obviously you train for the worst, you hope for the best, but I see a 3-round battle. That's what I see. I don't see either one of us wanting to go down, so, you know, there's going to be some blood, that's for sure.
This is Danny Acosta for BleacherReport.com. Tito, Wanderlei, straight ahead here. pioneering champions in the sport. What does it mean to be on a card where you're supporting two more pioneers in the lower weight classes, in Dominick Cruz and Urijah Faber, who headline this card?
It's just a great opportunity, that Dana and Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta give these lighter weight guys a main stage to fight at they are. Here in the UFC, there's no other better fighting organization that's promoted fighters in the whole world. And Dana does an awesome job by doing this. And just to be on the card, to, of course, help sell pay-per-view. We already sold out the arena. Fans are going to see a great fight. The lighter weight guys, sometimes you see knockouts, sometimes you see submissions, but everything's at a fast pace, so you can't blink. It's just one of those things that, I'm coming in and I'm fighting. All I care about right now is me getting a win, me getting my hand raised. Fighting with Wanderlei on the same card is awesome. Me and Wanderlei, we fought against each other for back then, the middleweight world title. And we put on an awesome show. So it's just a decade later, actually 14 years later, and we're on the same card again. Hey, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe we both will win.
I'm happy for fight that card. It's a great card. It's an awesome event. And for me, of course, I want to try to have the check of the fight of the night or knockout of the night. Every time I fight for that. But every time we have guys like Urijah and Dominick in the cards, it's more harder for making the fight of the night. These guys fighting like a machine. I expect a great main event.
Chris, over here. Hi. So Dave Sholler mentioned at the beginning of the press conference that you've been asking for this fight for, since 10 years ago. When you look back at both of yours and Wanderlei's careers, do you think that in the past 10 years you've both improved as fighters, or do you wish that you had gotten this fight 10 years ago?
No. I watched him fight 10 years. I didn't want to fight him 10 years ago, And there's some bits of people say, well, if Chris would have fought Wanderlei 5 years ago, he would have got his ass kicked. Yeah, you know what? That's probably true. I probably would have, But I've improved a lot. I've been in the gym every day, working hard, nose to the grindstone, doing my thing. And watching Wanderlei's evolution, he's improved as well. He doesn't come straight. His footwork, he stays on the outside. He has setups now. It's going to be a different fight. We continue to evolve just like the sport does.
We have huge pioneers on this card, Tito and Wanderlei and Urijah. Even though you're so young, you're a huge pioneer of the sport. What's it like to see the new blood in the UFC and all these people who are always saying they're watching you, Wanderlei, and they're watching you, Tito, and they admire you, you're legends, that watching you guys is what made them get into the sport. Is there any of these young people that you're watching their tape now and their footage and you want to be like them?
But I don't think God could give me the gift to get younger. George St. Pierre, I watch him all the time. Just how fast and agile and the things he does is damn amazing. He's a great athlete. Urijah is fast as hell. Dominick, just the angles and the spots he does strikes from is amazing how fast he is. But I guess that's what happens when you're 135 pounds. Me being 205, I'm a bull. I rush and I go forward, and it's been a while since I've been doing that. And on Saturday, I don't know, we may see that again.
What about you, Wanderlei?
The level of this sport is growing up so fast. Before, all the guys are better on stand-up or better, or all the guys good in stand-up or good in the ground. Sometimes the fighter goes, he's good in stand-up, but he's bad in the ground. Today, all athletes are complete guys. He's a good in stand-up, good in ground, good in takedowns, unbelievable cardio, and today have more easy fights. I think in this next generation coming strong and represent the sport very well.
Are there any of the guys you can name that you really admire right now?
I like a lot Shogun. I like Anderson. I like. I have a lot of good guys.
You're right.
Yeah, there's it's crazy, fighting with guys like Tito and Wanderlei on the card. I've been a huge fan of the sport for so long, and I'm not too far behind in age, actually, in some of those guys. But I mean, I just remember being in high school, watching Tito and being, impressed with his charisma and stuff like that, and watching Wanderlei and thinking he was going to kill everybody and, all that stuff. So now looking back at it, there's a ton of impressive guys, and I think, a guy like Jose Aldo, I got a chance to fight him and feel like poised from a young guy who, he found a weakness and just, took it apart on me, and I was impressed with, his skill, and, John Bones Jones, another guy who's got a unique body style and has the strong mind, and I'm just impressed with the mind of a lot of these guys because, you see consistencies in guys like, all the champions throughout years, you see the consistency in the mind, and you can kind of pick out who has that mindset, and it's cool to see it. So, and that goes for, I've got, 15 and 16-year-old kids in my gym that are some of my main training partners. They've been training with me for six plus years now, and now we're the same size, and it's a trip to see this sport grow, and I'm excited for it. But I think the most impressive thing is, seeing the guys with the strong mindset, because that's what being a champion is all about.
Question for Ryan Bader. Ryan, I'm sure you were disappointed after your loss to the champ, but talk about the pressure that came off now no longer being undefeated.
Well, I still think there's pressure, like I was saying earlier, you don't want 2 losses strung in a row, you just don't want to lose. It sucks, it's a bad feeling. Like I was saying, it is a relief. It was great to be in there and experience that big fight, with now the champion. And like I said, it just put me back to, reevaluating everything and getting back and, just learning and having that passion to go in the gym and learn and get better. And, it's not as far, it didn't take a lot of pressure off, but it motivated me more, I would say. And very motivated for this fight. I want to go out there and win, and I want to reinvent myself.
And question for Dominick and Urijah. Dominick, your first time using more real estate. You have the octagon to work with. Is that going to help you, being that you're a guy that moves around and uses a lot of that space?
I think it will actually, yeah, because a lot of people, when they're fighting me, their goal is to head me off. You can say that, but everybody that I train with has to do that too when I spar. So it's something that everybody's trying to do, and it's something that I'm ready for, and I practice to defend against that tactic. And a bigger cage just makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, I would say the big cage is going to help.
You see it the same way, Urijah?
I've never really been like a game plan against the cage guy, so I don't really care about the size. I didn't really notice last fight. I'm fast. I'm really fast, especially this lightweight. So I think he's more awkward, and we're both fast.
Wanderlei, the importance of fighting in your home now, of Las Vegas, versus all the times you had to fight in the past in Japan and recently Australia, your last fight.
Yeah, it's more comfortable for the fighters. I sleep in my bed, I eat my food. It's better for me. And I have the support. This is the first time I'm gonna fight after I open my gym. And everybody going, the students come, the parents come, my family come. It's awesome. It's a great feeling. I feel happy for back. I feel healthy. I don't have injuries anymore, and I expected a great fight.
Questions both for Dominick and Urijah again. Dave, if you actually want to chime in after they're done speaking. You look at the promotional material here. It's Dominick and Urijah, WC guys. The color's even blue. You take a look. Talk about the road to the main event, the fact that you're main eventing a UFC fight, and the road to get here. Because there were days, Urijah, you said it before, people would say, you were the WC champion, but they're like, are you a UFC fighter? Can you talk about the road, both you guys getting here to the main event?
For me, it's been kind of one of those things where I just have to come at peace at different times and convince myself, it's the same thing, But it's rough having to explain over and over again. And there's so many posers out there that think they're fighters these days, and it's like, you sometimes get put into that group if someone doesn't know what they're talking about. So the bottom line is, it's just nice for the confusion to be gone. As far as the road to get here, for me, it's been, I'm one of the few guys that's been at the very top of my weight class since I got into the sport. And that's through being persistent, consistent, and living a healthy lifestyle and staying motivated. And so the road for me has been a lifestyle. It's been creating regimen and focus and direction and just staying to it. And I've been out of title contention for a bit, and then I beat somebody who's in title contention. I'm back in it. So now I'm at my most competitive weight class, and I feel incredible. And I'm just ready to seize the opportunity.
This experience for me, coming up from the WEC, beginning in the WEC, they pretty much put me on the map. Without the WEC, I wouldn't even have had a name in the first place. I was fighting out of Arizona and California before that, so they did big things for me. And this whole experience and fighting the people that I fought in the WEC has been life-changing for me completely. That's the only way to explain it, is life-changing. And I've, given up everything in my life, or been willing, I should say, to give up everything in my life to be here and to have this title and to be able to fight on this platform. And I always said I wanted to fight in the UFC. I always said I was going to fight in the UFC. But I never dreamed that my first fight in the UFC was going to be, on the 4th of July card with Wanderlei Silva, Tito Ortiz, Ryan Bader, all these savages up here on the platform with me. And, it's an honor, and it's been a life-changing experience, and I appreciate it, and I'm having fun with every second of it.
Joe, for me, I was up at 6 a.m. for 2 years with these guys doing press tours in the WEC, traveling around the country and telling people why the lighter weight classes were exciting and why people needed to watch. So to be up here today, and Dana just got here, I'm looking at Dana, and I look at Tito, and I look at Wanderlei. Guys in the 135-pound weight class, guys at 145, they've arrived. And July 2nd, when these two come across the cage at each other in the main event of one of the biggest shows of the summer, I couldn't be more proud. I know these guys both on a personal level. Like I said, I've done the media tours. I've gotten up and with Dominick, and we've gone to radio stations and said, hey, look, you've got to give this 135-pound weight class a chance. You've got to watch these 45ers. You know what they're going to do. And you look at it in boxing, guys like Pacquiao and Mayweather, people look to those guys because they know the exciting action there. So I couldn't be more proud.
Chris, whenever anybody talks about this fight between you and Wanderlei, it seems pretty clear that they're expecting a certain kind of fight. How do you feel about the pressure to go out there and put on this certain kind of brawling, slugging show?
Well, we are entertainers. I hate to watch guys that go out there and fight not to lose. I'm gonna fight to beat them. But the fact is, I kind of look at it as an explosion, but somewhat of a controlled explosion. I am an athlete, and I have skills. It doesn't matter if we're on the cage, we're in the center of the ring, or we're on the ground. I'm gonna do what I need to do where I need to do it. But yeah, it's me and Wanderlei. I don't think it's gonna be hard to live up to it.
On a lighter note, Urijah, hi. What's up with the DJ Paul videos? And Dominick, have you been watching them?
DJ Paul from 3-6 Mafia. I think he's won an Oscar for original soundtrack of Hustle and Flow. We just met, and I train. That's my life. I train and I hang out. And he actually. We met at a UFC event, he's a fan, and I was like, dude, we should make a viral video or something like that, and he basically was like, doesn't do anything except for make music and hang out, and so he drove down to LA at like 11 o'clock at night and like just showed up, and I was like, we just messed around for a couple hours on the video camera, made some videos, just having fun, promoting the fight and chilling.
No, I haven't seen the whack videos.
They're pretty funny.
Question for Ryan over here. When you talk to Tito and we ask him about your weaknesses in your game, he brings up your wrestling. Does that surprise you, considering your background is in wrestling?
No, I never said he had weak wrestling. What are you starting shit for, dude? I never said that.
No?
I never said he had weak wrestling.
Yesterday when we spoke to you, you said takedowns and whatnot.
No, I said I seen holes in his game, but I never said he had weak wrestling. Don't be putting words in my mouth, dog. Come on, ain't cool.
I'm thinking that I said that you didn't say anything about his striking, so obviously the question was about your weaknesses and his weaknesses, and that's what you brought up. I'm not saying that he said you were a bad wrestler.
Yeah, no, I got you. Basically, you know, as far as MMA wrestling, and I might not get 100% of my takedowns, but at the same time, I have a different shot. I'm not down there on my knees, in danger of guillotines and all that on my shot. And sometimes it's up, for setups for my punches. And I worked a lot on this camp. Like I said, after that loss, reevaluated a lot, and went back to drawing board. Worked a lot of different things. Worked a lot on my stand-up and being more technical. And my takedowns actually got a lot better, doing that also. So I understand what you're saying, but. My wrestling's there, it's my bread and butter. I can always fall back on that, but I'm looking to evolve and get better in every aspect and even in my wrestling.
This question's for Dominick, over here to your right. Talk about the motivation heading into this fight, because it has all the elements of a big main event. There's the animosity, there's the title that's on the line, this is your first time under the bright lights. Would you say that this is the most defining moment of your career thus far?
I would say probably, yeah. I mean, fighting in the UFC for the UFC title. So I mean, anytime you're doing that, it's going to be the most defining fight of your career. But I mean, it doesn't define me as a person, and it's not going to define my career forever. This is just another fight for me. It's just another matchup, and that's the mindset I'm going in with. I haven't seen Urijah in 4 years, and we've changed a lot, both of us, and I've done everything I can possibly do. From beginning to end for the past 12 weeks to win this fight, and I know that I've done everything in my capability to do so, and I'm very confident in that. So I'm just taking it as an awesome opportunity, and I'm going to have a lot of fun out there. I mean, I'm in like a 1 percentile of people who get to do something like this. So really, I got to be thankful for where I'm at and just have fun with it, because not a lot of people get to experience what I'm doing.
And say you win on Saturday night, does this take a huge load off of your shoulders with the media, coming at you about the Urijah questions and, really defining you as the champion of this division? Whereas up to this point, it seems like the story's been going back and forth. Can you beat Urijah? Is it revenge? Does this get a load off of you?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I get done with a fight, there's a load off my shoulders. I mean, it's all the training camp, all the work you've put in, everything you've done. But that's what gives you the nerves, and the nerves are what make you sharper. I'm thankful for my nerves. I'm thankful for all that stuff, because those are the things that keep my mind in the game and keep me focused on what I need to be focused on. So yeah, it'll be a load off my shoulders when I win, and it's going to be an awesome feeling.
This question's for Chris. Who have you brought in, and what training partners have you brought in over at a fight school in Oahu to help you get ready for Wanderlei? Like what training partners, and who's really, I guess, what's Burton done for you this camp?
Well, I got my coach Burton Richardson, who's always in Hawaii with me. Also, I brought in Greg Thompson, and best thing about Greg is he's fantastic at my conditioning, but he actually lives with me. He slaps my hand every time I try to open the fridge, and he's played a huge role in this camp, as well as my boxing coach Joe Kim. And everybody in my gym. I mean, I got so many great guys in my gym. It's hard for me to just go ahead and say everybody, but anybody at fight school, man, they're fantastic. And the whole school, everybody's just been working really hard. We've been really excited for this one. There's a real fire, a real buzz. So, this is the best camp I've ever had, and I truly am in the best shape I've ever been in, and my skills are sharper than they've ever been. So, I'm excited to see how this goes on Saturday.
This question is for Tito, down the front here. Do you ever look at the betting board, and how does it feel to be a 4-1 underdog, and then Ryan, how does it feel to be about a 5-1 favorite?
Well, I can tell you an answer automatic on that one. I learned this in high school. Rankings don't mean shit. You could rank anybody where you want, but at the end of the day, when it's time to step in the cage and you fight, the man who has a smile on his face, the man who's confident, the man who has, everything behind him knowing that he's gonna win, that's what it comes down to. That's why it's called betting, because you're laying a bet and you're taking a chance. That's people's choices. I'm a betting man. I'm in making some money then. Hey, it's gonna be is what it is. I don't pay attention to that shit, man. That's for people to make money. People want to make money on me, bet on me. That's the way it is.
I feel the same way. You know, I've been through enough competition, you know, amateur wrestling background to know that anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and I don't even pay attention to it whatsoever. I'm going in there with a goal. I've been focused in this training camp, and I have one job to do, go out there and win, and look at doing it, and so I prepared for that, and that's all that matters to me.
This question is for Tito Ortiz. Tito, you're a pioneer of the sport. You've done it all. What more do you want to accomplish if all goes well on Saturday?
God, I don't know. I've done everything underneath the sun in UFC. I mean, I can go down the list over and over again. I think just getting a win over a top contender. You know, Ryan Bader's super tough, great wrestler, powerful hands. He's fast, he's young, he's strong. Just show that I'm still a dominant force in the light heavyweight division. You know, Dana puts me against guys who are the top guys, top tier guys, and use me as, you know, to step them up is fine. I'm going to give my heart and soul when it comes to fight time. I'm going to go out and I'm going to put on the show, and I'm going to let them swing. My back's pressed against the fence, and I'm going to come swinging for the fences, and, you know, I'm going to look for mistakes that happen, and I'm going to capitalize on those, and I'm going to be aggressive.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll take 2 more questions.
This question is for Tito. Down here. You mentioned earlier about not being able, obviously, to be the younger and faster guy, but do you see some advantages at being the veteran in this contest?
100%. I fought in some of the biggest fights in UFC history. I defended my world title longer than any light heavyweight's ever done. And all the pressure's on Bader. You know, he knows what it feels like to lose. He knows what it feels like to be taken down and someone being on top of him, pound him. But not at my stature of the ground and pound I'll be doing. Like I say, Ryan's a tough kid. As you say, my, you know, stuff I've used prior to get me where I am is going to be an advantage. My speed has speeded up a lot better. I mean, of course, coming off of back surgery, neck surgery, it slows you down a lot. But working with Michael Giovanni out of Costa Mesa, he's got my strength and conditioning awesome. Of course, Jason Perillo with my boxing, Ricardo Abreu with my jiu-jitsu, and the wrestlers I brought in to help me with this game. We put everything together. It's kind of like the Rubik's Cube, and all of a sudden, on Saturday night, all the colors will be matching. And I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm focused, and I know I'm fighting for my career. I have nothing to lose. I'm supposed to lose, as the betting people say. So, hey, all the pressure's on Bader.
And the same question, you know, for Urijah. You've headlined a lot of big events. Are there some advantages for you to being the more experienced veteran coming into this bout?
You know, I've been through some serious adversity in fights where things seem pretty hopeless, and you know, broken hands and, you know, swollen legs and all that kind of stuff. There's advantages to that. I mean, from a mental side, but you know, you're dealing with 2 guys that are champions. Again, that comes down to mentality, and I'm just expecting for a battle. I mean, the cool thing about this fight is, you know, the reason it's a grudge match and everything else is because, you know, you put Dominick and I in the same little neighborhood, and we probably would have ended up fighting each other, you know, because, you know, his bad attitude and me not taking crap, and me being the badder dude, you know, and that's what this is about. So, you know, like-minded people, we're gonna butt heads when it comes to the fight game and see who's boss.
Karen over here, I have a question for Chris. I'm right here. Hey. You certainly have a really terrific look. I think that's very well suited for the octagon, and you know, it's unconventional for sure, but I think very fan-friendly. But what do you think you would have done in your life had you not been a fighter, and what do you think you will do when you're done fighting?
I'm a grind. I'd probably be putting a roof on or framing. But honestly, you know, I think everything that I found in this sport, and I have no visions of doing anything else ever. I have my gym. That's what I love to do. I'm going to continue on in this sport, you know, as long as I can. And then when that road hits an end, I'm going to continue to coach. And I mean, that's my true passion is coaching, and that's what I do. I've got pros and amateurs that fight underneath me, and that's where my time goes. And you know, that's what makes me feel good. You know, watching a kid come in, lose 60 pounds, gain self-confidence. They stop fighting because they know they're tough. You know, and you turn their life around.
All right, guys, and with that, we're going to wrap things up. Just a reminder, the first Facebook fight on Saturday is at 3:15 p.m. We go to Spike at 5 p.m., and then we go live on pay-per-view at 6 p.m. Pacific. Also, still good seats available for UFC 132. We'll move the podium and get some square-offs. Thanks, guys, for coming out.
Oh, my.